Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor for the 81st Legislative Session. Before we begin, please be sure to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to minimize broad background noise. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Hardy?
Here.
Senator Lang?
Here.
Senator Neal?
Here.
Senator Pickard? Senator Scheibel?
Here.
Senator Settlemyre?
Here.
Chair Spearman?
Here. Thank you, Secretary, and please mark Senator Pickard present once he gets here. Other than that, I see that all of the members are present. So welcome to our audience joining us remotely and anyone listening over the internet. Today we have introductions, adoption of committee rules, and one bill to hear. I would like to take a moment to go over some basic housekeeping items. The Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor is scheduled to meet at 8:00 a.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I want to respect the time commitment of those participating, and unless circumstances beyond our control occur, we will begin each meeting on time. As you know, for at least the first weeks, the legislative building is closed to the public, and so all committee meetings will be held virtually. These meetings can be viewed through our streaming service or the legislature's YouTube channel, both of which can be accessed on the legislature's website. The virtual meeting format is important to keep everyone safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. Members of the public may provide comment in different ways, all of which are listed on the agenda. You can provide public comment by registering to participate online on the Nevada Electronic Legislative Information System, or NELIS, of the legislative website. After registering, you will be provided with information about how to participate telephonically. You can also email comments to sencl@sen.state.nv.us. Again, that address is sencl@sen.state.nv.us. Or you may fax your comments to 775-684-6500. You may submit your opinion on a bill or a resolution by using the opinion applications located on the legislative website. And in some ways, this format actually provides more opportunities for public participation. And if those of you who have been meeting with us for a while, you know that most of the time, if you want to be present at a meeting, you either have to buy a plane ticket, a bus ticket, drive, or something else up here to Carson City, or go over to the Grant Sawyer building. So this format actually provides more opportunities for people to participate. No need to buy a plane ticket or drive to Carson or the Grant Sawyer building to register your comments. Any exhibits for the committee must be submitted in electronic format no later than 8 a.m. the day before the meeting. They must be submitted to our committee manager, Terry Miller, or our committee policy analyst, Cesar Guerrero. Committee contact information may be found on the committee page in NELIS. In addition, any person proposing an amendment to a bill being heard by this committee must first talk to the sponsor and let them know you intend to submit an amendment. Let me be clear. I will not entertain any amendments if the sponsor is not aware of that amendment. Again, I say I will not entertain any amendments if the bill sponsor is not aware of the amendment. The proposed amendment must be submitted in writing 24 hours prior to the meeting. Please include the bill number, a statement of intent, and your contact information. When testifying, please remember to turn on your microphone and clearly state your name and the entity you represent at the beginning of your testimony. Speak clearly and project your voice to ensure those watching remotely can hear your testimony. And I said this at every meeting during our last session. People who are listening by computer, if you do not project your voice or make sure you're close enough to the microphone, those who either are hearing impaired or perhaps may not have the same type of equipment that we do will not be able to hear you. And so please respect their time commitment and speak clearly and project your voice. Please remember to turn your microphone off when you finish speaking. A reminder to all those who testify pursuant to Nevada Revised Statutes 218E.085, it is unlawful for a person to knowingly misrepresent facts when testifying before a legislative committee. A person who knowingly does so is guilty of a misdemeanor. To committee members, during these virtual meetings, when an agenda item calls for a vote, the committee will begin using do so. When the committee secretary calls your name, please answer with a yes or a no, so that there is no confusion. Additionally, if you have questions, please raise your hand through the Zoom application. To find the raise your hand button, click on the participant at the bottom of your screen. That will bring up the participant names. And in the bottom right-hand corner of that screen is a raise your hand button. Click on that icon and our staff will know you want to make a comment or ask a question. And I would ask that you get those, because when we do that, sometimes we might start talking over each other. So please take a little time and learn how to use the raise your hand button. And finally, please turn off all of your electronic devices, especially cell phones, or put them on silent during the meeting. If you see that a call comes through and you must take it, please turn your camera off. Make sure that your microphone is off so as not to disturb the rest of the participants. I would like to take a few minutes to introduce the members of the committee and the committee staff. Members, if each one of you would introduce yourselves and please include the district you represent and your interest in commerce and labor, as well as your goals for this committee during the 2021 session. I will start with our Vice Chair, Senator Neal.
Good morning, Chair. I am Dina Neal. I represent Senate District 4. This is my first time serving on Senate Commerce. I served on Assembly Commerce 2 sessions. My goals for this committee are to pass good policy.
Thank you. Let's go with Senator Scheibel.
Thank you so much, Chair Spearman. My name is Melanie Scheibel. I am the Senator for District 9 in the southwest part of Las Vegas. I'm excited to serve on Commerce and Labor this year for the first time. This is my second session in the Senate, but the first session on Commerce and Labor. And I share Senator Neal's desire to pass good policy, and I know that we have a lot of hard work to do, so I'm looking forward to getting started.
Senator Lang.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Senator Lang, and I represent District 7 in Las Vegas. I'm a freshman legislator. I am excited to be on Commerce and Labor. And I, too, it is my goal always to pass good legislation that will make things better for the residents of Nevada. And so I look forward to doing that and working together with all the members on the committee.
Thank you. Senator Hardy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe Hardy, I represent District 12. in southern Nevada, basically the eastern part of Clark County. I'm obviously interested in the economy returning to full strength and making sure that we have people that have jobs that they can do, licensing, the renewable energy and energy development in the state of Nevada. I'm anxious to continue being on the Commerce and Labor Committee and look forward to your leadership as we look forward to bringing Nevada back and businesses back to Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Settlemyre.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Greatly appreciate the opportunity for my sixth session and final session to serve on Commerce and Labor. I look forward to doing the hard work necessary to get the state of Nevada back up and running in a safe way to ensure that we protect everyone from the virus that we can, but also to get things back to a little bit more normalcy. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Senator Settlemyre. I'm sorry, Senator Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's not an offensive name to use for me. I'm honored. I appreciate being on this committee. This is my third session and second in the Senate. First time, however, on Commerce and Labor, and I'm grateful to be here. My goals are going to be pretty much in alignment, I think, with the others. My hope is that we can pass policy that furthers the economic development and job growth so that our people can get back to work and that they can find meaningful work. Also to make sure that things like our diversified or our economy is diversified, particularly in areas that we've not really taken advantage of in the past, such as the renewable energy and other energy market issues and beyond. So I'm grateful to be here and look forward to working with everyone on the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm Chair Spearman. This is my fourth time on Commerce and Labor, my second session chairing. I'm glad to be here. And as most of you know, I am a veteran. And so one of my primary goals this session will be to make sure that our compact and reciprocity legislation is something that is friendly towards our military spouses. Also want to make sure that we are doing the very best we can to support all of the professional boards and licensing agencies, and would at this time ask them to do the same thing. If there is anything that happens during any one of these meetings that you don't understand, please feel free to reach out to me and we can have a chat. And with that, I'd like to start with Mr. Melgarejo and introduce our staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Cesar Guerrero. I'm a senior policy analyst with the Research Division of the Legislative Council Bureau. This is my second session with the LCB and my second session staffing the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor. I'm a graduate of the University of Nevada, Reno, and like the chair, I'm also an Army veteran. I'm honored to serve in this committee as a policy analyst, and I look forward to working with all of you in my role as a nonpartisan policy analyst.
Thank you. Terry?
Yes, my name is Terry Miller, and I am, this is my 9th session and my second with Commerce and Labor. I've been a committee manager for 6 sessions. I'm retired from AT&T after a 30-year career, and then I decided to come here and work session, and I really enjoy it. And it's all about me, or that's all I have to say about me.
Okay. Kim, did I miss anyone else other than Kim? How about Shelby? This is my legislative assistant for this session.
She took the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to be Senator Spearman's legislative assistant for this session. This is my first session, first time in Carson City. I moved to Las Vegas about 2 years ago, and the first day I was here, I knew I wanted to live here, And the first time I've met Senator Spearman, I knew I wanted to work for her. So I'm so happy to be here, so happy to be working for the people of Nevada. And anything you guys need, please just reach out to me and let me know.
Thank you. And I suspect that part of the reason it's much better to live in Vegas than it is in Michigan is because the weathers are much more polite to us here in Vegas. So with that, let me have Mr. Malgarejo to read our introduction in terms of our policies that we'll be looking at this time and introduce our first bill. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I missed Will. I didn't see him on the screen. Will, Mr. King, I don't know how I missed you.
No problem. Thank you, Chair Spearman. Hello, my name is Will Keene, and I will be serving as the committee counsel. I received my law degree from Yale Law School, and I started as an attorney with the legal division in 1997. This is my 5th session working with the Commerce and Labor Committees, 3 times on the Assembly side and now twice on the Senate side. I'm looking forward to working with everyone throughout this session.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you again for everyone, staff, including our broadcast staff, for all that you do to help make all of this a much more not only meaningful, but understandable and delightful experience. Our first order of business is adoption of the committee rules, which are posted on Nellis. And these rules are standard and similar to those approved in previous sessions, except for the reference to virtual meetings. These rules serve to complement the Senate standing rules and joint standing rules that were adopted on Monday in the full Senate. I would like to note that Rule 10 and 11 serve as a reminder that all witnesses are presumed to be under oath when testifying before the committee, and that it is unlawful to misrepresent facts before the committee. In addition, both the chair and members may request testify submit documentation supporting their testimony. Are there any questions? If not, I will take a motion to adopt the committee rules for the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
So moved.
Who's that?
Senator Scheibel.
Senator Scheibel. I
Settlemyre.
have a motion from Senator Scheibel. I have a second from
Senator Settlemyre.
Senator Settlemyre. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll for the vote on these rules.
Senator Hardy,
Yes.
Senator Lang,
Yes.
Senator Neal,
Yes.
Senator Pickard,
Yes.
Senator Scheibel,
Yes.
Senator Settlemyre,
Yes.
Chair Spearman.
Yes. Thank you all. And now, our committee policy analyst, Cesar Guerrero, will present the committee policy brief. Thank you, Mr. Guerrero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Cesar Guerrero, I'm the committee policy analyst. A copy of this committee brief is posted on the committee website on Nellis. The Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor committee brief provides a background information on the work of the committee. The brief includes an overview of the work of the committee during the 80th legislative session, and to some degree, information of what may come before the committee this session, based on just the small titles that we can see from the pre-filed bills. You can see that we have a large number of bills that regulate occupation and professions, followed by a number of bills regulating general business, employment, and financial and trade practices. And then we have a number of bills regulating labor, minimum wage, and unemployment, followed by health and other forms of insurance. The topics heard in this committee will include banking, financial institutions, insurance, industrial relations, labor, manufactured housing, and occupational and professional licensing, among other issues. The committee brief also includes a summary and links to reports, publications, and audits relating to commerce and labor. And contact information for committee staff is located on page 4 of the committee brief. In conclusion, I am available to assist the committee and its members on any issues related to matters before the committee. In addition, the research division is available to provide information and assistance on a confidential basis to individual members of the legislature on any topic. Madam Chair, this concludes my brief summary of the committee brief.
Thank you, Mr. Melgarejo. And so now I will open the hearing on Senate Bill 55. Our joint presenters are Victoria Carrion, Administrator of the Division of Industrial Relations, Shannon Chambers, Labor Commissioner from the Department of Business and Industry, and Barbara Richardson, Insurance Commissioner. We will now hear Senate Bill 55, revises provisions governing the licensing and regulation of employee leasing companies. Please begin when you're ready.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Victoria Carrion. I'm the administrator at the Division of Industrial Relations, and joining me today are also Barbara Richardson, the Insurance Commissioner, as well as Shannon Chambers, our Labor Commissioner. So in short, this bill transfers responsibility for registration of employee leasing companies from the Division of Industrial Relations to the Division of Insurance. And so the first question is, what is an employee leasing company? So these are companies that provide payroll and HR services, typically to small businesses. They're commonly known as professional employer organizations. And the way the leasing works is that commonly the employee leasing company places all or some of the employees of the client company on its payroll. So some of the common employee leasing companies in Nevada that you may have heard of include ADP and Paychex. So what happens in those cases is ADP will have a small business that is contracting with it, and it will place all of the employees of that client company on ADP's payroll. And then ADP has a joint employment relationship with those employees. So it's important to note that then those employees are leased to the client company. And what's a little confusing about this, it sounds like the employees being leased may be the people at ADP, for example, who are performing the HR and payroll functions, but it's not. The people who are being leased are actually the employees in the client company. So hopefully that gives you a little sense of how it works. Then workers' compensation can be provided by either the employee leasing company or the client company. Who is the employer in these cases? Like I mentioned, it is a joint relationship. So the employee leasing company has sort of the administrative functions of doing payroll, other HR functions, whereas the client company is the one who manages the employees on a day-to-day basis. And under current law, DIR, Division of Industrial Relations, is responsible for registering these employee leasing companies. There's a fee of $500 annually. Currently, there's 203 employee leasing companies, so it's about $100,000 in revenue per year. And last fiscal year, it generated $114,000 in revenue. So the only regulation of these employee leasing companies that the Division of Industrial Relations does is ensuring that there's proper workers' compensation coverage. And if a company is not complying with the registration requirements, then we refer that to the Attorney General's office. So why is this bill needed? Review of these applications requires review of financial statements. Currently, Division of Industrial Relations doesn't really have the expertise in reviewing financial statements. We do a simple calculation of working capital. In contrast, Division of Insurance does have staff who have expertise in this area because they do review financial statements for other types of entities. And so the proposal was to transfer this responsibility of registration to the Division of Insurance. So a brief summary of the bill. Section 1 deletes DIR's, Division of Industrial Relations, authority to register employee leasing companies. Section 2 transfers responsibility for issuing the certificates of registration from the Division of Industrial Relations to the Division of Insurance. Sections 3 through 5 transfer responsibility for applications and renewals from Division of Industrial Relations to the Insurance Commissioner. And sections 6 through 8 transfer responsibility for regulations from the Division of Industrial Relations to Division of Insurance. and carries over any existing regulations over Division of Insurance. I want to point out there are no regulations currently, so that part of the bill is merely a formality. Section 9 makes the bill effective upon passage and approval. However, we recommend that the effective date be changed to October 1 to facilitate the transition. And I do want to point out that the Division of Industrial Relations would remain responsible for regulating workers' compensation coverage and ensuring that that is adequate. So we have been discussing I want to give it over to the Insurance Commissioner and also the Labor Commissioner. So we've been discussing a possible friendly amendment that would look at actually placing this in the Labor Commission. So Barbara Richardson, if you'd like to chime in, that would be great. Thank you.
Certainly. Good morning, Chair Spearman and members of the committee. So originally, the Division of Insurance was asked to help the Division of Industrial Relations because of our expertise, but also because we have online registration systems, which would hasten the speed under which these companies would get licensed or registered and be able to start moving into the market. And we do have specific expertise in the financial oversight of these types of organizations, these type of small businesses. And we already actually do this type of services for self-insured groups, self-insured employer groups, third-party administrators, anything that has a workers' comp hook to it already for the Division of Industrial Relations. So it seemed a good fit to be able to smooth the issues of oversight as far as registration goes and get these folks into the market and relieve the Division of Industrial Relations for actually having to create a whole new system that we already had in place. However, there is going to be a friendly amendment, and I'll turn this over to Shannon Chambers, who is the Labor Commissioner, to discuss the friendly amendment.
So good morning, Chair Spearman, members of the committee. For the record, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner. Hopefully you can see me. It says my camera's on, but so as this bill was kind of going through the process and discussions between the administrator of the, yes.
This is Kaylee with Broadcast. Can I step in to assist really quick?
Sure.
Ms. Chambers, we cannot see your camera at the moment. I'm not too sure how it's looking for the rest of the members, but it's we're not able to see you.
And see it.
You see her?
No, she's
No.
Okay. Ms. Chambers, at the bottom left corner, if you could just stop your video and then restart it. Let's see if that works. Still not working. Is there anything covering your camera by any chance?
No.
There's nothing covering your camera? Okay.
And it was working earlier, so I apologize.
No worries. Let's see if we could get this situated. If you can you try wiping the lens? Let's see if that works. There we go. We could see you now. Perfect. Thank you so
there
much.
we go.
If you could lower your camera just a little bit more so we could see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So good morning once again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner. For the record, apologize for that. Thank you for pointing that out. So Senate Bill 55, as we started to discuss the proposal to move it to the Division of Insurance, the Labor Commissioner pointed out that we already license private employment agencies under Nevada Revised Statute Section 611. So the Labor Commissioner had a thought, and I wasn't the original person that had that thought. That was Maggie Carlton of the Assembly, who asked the question, maybe the Labor Commissioner should take over oversight of employee leasing companies because they are very similar to a private employment agency. So the Labor Commissioner has drafted a friendly amendment. It is not before you today because this was the bill's first hearing. But just to give some background as to why this makes sense, the Labor Commissioner has authority over all labor laws in the state of Nevada. We also have authority over private employment in the state of Nevada. So these employee leasing companies are leasing employees, and they're providing payroll services, human resource services, wage services. So the regulation of these companies by the Labor Commissioner makes perfect sense. We would still rely on the Division of Insurance in terms of reviewing the financial records. But the thought would be there could be a joint application for the employee leasing agency, and they could also apply for a private employment agency license, because essentially they're both charging a fee to provide employees to companies. So we think this makes a lot more sense. And to Chairwoman Spearman's point about merging licenses and making it more convenient for companies and businesses, we think this is a good idea and makes a lot of sense. So again, this amendment's not before you yet, but just wanted to make sure that the committee knew about this and that this is probably coming. And I will tell you that myself, and I know Administrator Carry-On and the Commissioner of Insurance, Barbara Richardson, we have talked to industry about this, talked about moving it to the Labor Commissioner. So far, there's not any opposition. Many people think this makes a lot of sense. Have a one-stop shop for both of these companies, have the Labor Commissioner in charge of them. And again, I think this makes a lot of sense and goes right to Chairwoman Spearman's point about merging licenses and making things more efficient. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I believe I see Senator Hardy's hand. Senator Hardy, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So a basic question would be, who's actually in charge then? Is the insurance commissioner in charge of part of it, and the labor commissioner is in charge of another part? Therefore, they need two licenses. And so I'm a little confused how that makes it easier on the person who's, or the company that's trying to do this. So there are two licenses needed and two entities that oversee these employee leasing companies.
So for the record, Senator Hardy, this is Shannon Chambers, again, Nevada Labor Commissioner. There would only be one registration that would be through the Nevada Labor Commissioner. The insurance commissioner would simply review the financial documents that we would collect as part of the application process. So we would handle all of that. And we would work with the insurance commissioner just to get that review done, but it would only be one registration, one application through the Nevada Labor Commissioner.
Right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey,
Would that be a new fee of any kind, or would it just be transferring the same amount of fee to the Labor Commission?
So again, Senator Hardy, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner, for the record, it would just be transferring that fee to the Labor Commissioner.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem. I thought I saw Senator Pickard's hand. Senator Pickard, did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. I've got just three quick questions. First, I want to make sure when we're using the term licensing a lot in this conversation, but my understanding is we're not talking about adding a license. We're just leaving it at the registration level. Is that correct?
So again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner, for the record. Yes, it is a registration, and I apologize for using that term. It functions very similar to a license, but it is a registration.
Great, okay. And then specifically with the transition to the Labor Commission, I agree, that makes a lot of sense in my mind. But don't you also have the requirement to review financial records of the businesses that you currently regulate? Is there still a need to now use two different independent agencies to do the review, or how does that work?
So again, Shannon Chambers, for the record, Nevada Labor Commissioner. So in terms of the private employment agencies, we do review certain financial records, but what makes this a little bit different, Senator, is the workers' comp component and the insurance component of these leasing agencies. And the Labor Commissioner does not have that expertise. So that is why we would have that function performed by the Commissioner of Insurance.
All right. I just, when I'm looking at processes generally, I try to remove the points at which failures can occur. And so when you've got some employees under certain supervision working with employees under different supervision, you have a point of potential disconnect. And so that kind of leads to the next question. What happens to the people in the current department, the department or the Division of Industrial Relations that are currently doing this work? Do they transfer over to then the Labor Commission? Do they lose their jobs? Are we growing in numbers? Are we shrinking? What does the employment situation look like? And in that vein, would it make sense to, rather than seek the input of a separate division, would it make sense to transfer, if we're transferring employees, would it make sense to transfer someone with the expertise so that you can do that in-house and be a true one-stop shop instead of a one-stop plus?
This is Victoria Cadron, for the record, Administrator, Division of Industrial Relations. So in answer to that question, just to give you a sense of what we are currently doing in terms of the staffing that's going towards this, it's currently less than half of an FTE. It's about 0.4 FTE that we use to review these registrations in the Division of Industrial Relations. And we do this within our workers' compensation section in our enforcement unit. And so those employees are typically doing enforcement of workers' compensation coverage. So there would be no transfer of our employees because we need them to continue in with their existing duties where they do have expertise. So I hope that helps answer the question. And then Ms. Chambers may have something on the Labor Commission side.
No, I would just say again, Shannon Chambers, for the record, I completely agree. There would be no proposal for new positions or to transfer any employees.
All right. And then what about the expertise question?
So again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner, for the record. So I can represent to you, Senator Pickard, that the Insurance Commissioner and I, we literally have offices right next to each other. And we work very well together, and I will represent to you that we would do nothing to complicate the process and make it as streamlined as possible. I just, as the Labor Commissioner, cannot take over expertise that belong with the Division of Insurance, but I can assure you that we will make this process flow very, very smoothly.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate that response. And thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands. Someone else?
Yeah, Chair Spearman.
Yes, Vice Chair.
I just have one question. So, Ms. Chambers, I guess the only question I have to build upon the existing discussion is in Section 5 of the bill, since the fiscal or financial statements will be with Division of Insurance, who is going to be adopting the regulations?
So again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner, for the record. So we could not, as the Labor Commissioner, adopt any regulations that govern workers' comp insurance or any other level of insurance, but the Labor Commissioner would now have the authority to adopt regulations governing employee leasing agencies. We already have regulations for private employment licenses. So the Labor Commissioner would have the authority over employee leasing agencies when it came to every aspect of their registration except the insurance aspects.
So, and I just want to say this, and I know intuitively it seems like because you're handling employees and this, it's like, it looks like and it sounds like, but I guess what I'm not understanding is that the whole point of this bill was because expertise was lacking at Division of Industrial. And now you don't have that expertise. So why not just keep it with, bring it to Division of Insurance so they can just handle all of it. And then you are consulting or whatever, but not necessarily having it housed under you. Because it just seems like the main issue that needs to be rectified are the financial statements, preparing it, dealing with the CPAs, et cetera, et cetera.
So again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner for the record. I think that's a fair point. And again, we're at the initial discussion point of this bill and these issues. You know, one of the issues, and I've been approached by, you know, some of the trade industries, and there's a lot of people out there that don't understand the difference between an employee leasing company and a private employment agency. So the thought was to merge those two kind of together under the labor commissioner. But I think your point is a fair one, and we can certainly work on that issue and try to come up with a resolution. But it just seemed like it made more sense, especially the employee aspect of it, to the extent that there was issues with potential labor laws that the labor commissioner had authority over.
Vice Chair, you have additional questions?
No, I mean, because I haven't seen the amendment, so I'll just say this. I hope that the amendment is going to address Section 5, right? Since you don't have the authority to do the regulations, and that is clearly a part of the process if something changes. I don't know if that was addressed in the amendment to make sure that this crossover and co-relationship is, I guess, adjusted in the language.
So Senator Neal, again, Shannon Chambers, Nevada Labor Commissioner for the record, we will make sure that we address that and address your concerns. But thank you for the questions, good questions.
Thank you. Senator Settlemyer?
Actually, Madam Chair, Senator Neal actually already asked my questions. I was also trying to figure out where the amendment is, or if we could get it, so it would try to clear up some of the confusion that seems to be going on. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. So are there any additional questions from any of the members, committee members? So thank you. And I just want to say that I too look forward to seeing the amendment. I had some of the same concerns that our vice chair had. And hopefully the questions that she asked and some of the comments that she made will be addressed in that final amendment. Yeah, so let us know how quickly we can get that and be able to study it so that the committee members can study it so that we might be able to get this to work session as soon as practicable. Okay, additional comments? No? Okay. So we'll now move on to public testimony on Senate Bill 55. As a reminder, to provide public testimony, please register to participate online on the Nellis page of the legislative website. After registering, you will be provided with the information to participate. You may also email and fax comments to the committee, or you may submit your opinion on a bill or resolution by using the opinions application located on the legislative website. All of the information and links to do so are located on our agenda. Please remember to clearly state and spell your name and limit your comments to 2 minutes. Staff will be timing each speaker during public comment to ensure everyone is given a fair opportunity to speak. Staff in our broadcast and production services, please add the first testifier in support. This is in support of SB 55 with public comment to the meeting.
Chair, the public comment line is currently open and working, and you have no callers at this time.
Let me give you just a couple of minutes.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator Settlemyer.
I was just curious, I'm new to this concept of how does someone register for public comment. What's that process entail? I haven't ever done that. I'm too used to the old days where, we actually had people in the building. I was just curious how this registration process worked for public comment. If someone could elaborate, or I'll get that offline if you want. I just figured we had a second.
Sure, I'll give you the abbreviated version, and if I make a mistake, then I'll ask Broadcast and Production Services to come in and correct me. But there, as I said before, there is a link. There are links on our agenda, as well as links on the Nevada Legislative website, so that people may register. And once they register, then that information goes to BPPS broadcast. Anyway, goes to the folks that are handling the mics, okay? So it goes to them, and then the person who has registered then receives a link. So that's the gist of it. And what we can do is I can set up with our broadcast services to offline give a separate class to all of the committee members if you are still unfamiliar with the way this will operate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And to all those who are listening, remember, you can find that out on our legislative website, or when you pull up the agenda, there's information there as well. Okay. So we'll go now to testimony in opposition to SB 55.
Chair, again, your public line is open and working, and there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Let me just give it a couple of seconds just to make sure, okay? Okay, is there anyone in the neutral on Senate Bill 55?
Chair, the public line is open and working, and you have no one here in neutral at this time.
Thank you. So seeing no one, I will close the hearing on SB 55, and we will open it now for public comment. We are going to take a short break to allow people to call in under the public testimony. And as a reminder, to provide public testimony, please register online on Nellis of the legislative website. Again, please register online on Nellis of the legislative website. And after registering, you will be provided with the telephonic information to participate. You may also email and fax comments to the committee, or you may submit your opinion on a bill or resolution by using the opinions application located on the legislative website. All the information and links to do so are also located on our agenda. So when you're speaking for public comment, please remember to speak clearly, spell your name, and limit your comments to 2 minutes. The staff will be timing each speaker during the public comment section to ensure everyone is given a fair opportunity to speak. Do we have anyone in the queue?
Chair, the public line is still open and working correctly, and you have no one in the queue at this time.
Okay, we'll give it a couple more minutes. Okay, so we'll close out public comment section. Are there any comments from members before we adjourn? Seeing none, let me just say again, as I said at the top of the meeting, this format is new to most of us. And we'll probably have some hiccups in the very beginning. But as I often ask my parishioners, if I make a mistake, charge it to my head and not my heart. It's my intention to always be transparent and clear and correct as possible when I address questions. This This particular format, although different and new, I really believe that it offers more opportunities for people to participate. You don't have to get up and get dressed. You can call in your pajamas, you can drink your coffee, whatever, and you can still participate. And those of you who are used to coming up to the legislature to testify on a particular bill, you know that sometimes if it's a bill that has a lot of interest, you may or may not get into the hearing room. And there have been times when we have been limited even on overflow. So this provides everyone an opportunity to listen, to make your comments. And even if you don't get in, you can still send those comments via email or fax. So I want to thank our staff, and I want to thank LCB for doing a yeoman's job to make sure that this is as simplified as possible, giving the conditions and the environment under which we live right now. And I, for one, would rather err on the side of caution than to just throw caution to the wind. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you again to our staff and to our broadcast and publication services. Did I get that right? I hope so. And to all of our committee members. And we will look forward to seeing the amendment on Senate Bill 55. And if there are no additional comments or questions, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.